we return to November of 1931 as the snows and the cold weather dissipate around the city of Boston. Police detective Gabriel Washburn visited
Then get me some evidence.
Newbury Street residence of Alfred Smalls not long ago. What were the events leading up to that visit?
The events leading up to that visit? Are you asking me?
Sure.
Well, as as Terrence MacSweeney, I spent a good deal of time talking to the good detective, Lieutenant Gabriel Washburn, and pretty much sung like a canary. I let him know just about everything I know, and we had a delicious meal at a diner. Once I started singing like a canary, he decided that might, I don't know why he took me there, but it was all right. He even bought it for me under duress. But I pretty much laid things out for him, and then we went to go see Mr. Smalls. And I let Alfred and Tommy Reardon know, but Alfred especially, that in fact, I've told him the truth. So let's not hold back. I was a little irritated that Smalls told him about the little book that he found secreted in the chest. I was hoping to keep that secret. However, the detective has allowed me to keep it for the time being to see if I can decipher it before giving it back relatively soon. And I recall that Smalls had a bit of an issue with young Tommy Reardon. In terms of Tommy's behavior, you might say, for lack of a better word, most of which I was not exactly privy to. But at the end of this time, the lieutenant did show us a very interesting picture that had been developed by the police, as had been taken from my friend Callum McGinnis by the O'Shaughnessy clan, presumably for destruction. They never got a chance to destroy it, but the police developed the picture, which had pretty interesting and horrific properties when viewed.
Okay.
Smalls?
Yeah, you and Lieutenant showed up at because Tommy and I were at my place, and you guys turned up hammering on my door. Let you in. Essentially, yeah, we got a good look at those photographs, and what I got out of it was that, or what Smalls got out of it is that in the lieutenant we have maybe an ally in all this, something that he will deny right now as things stand. He will, at the drop of a hat, he will cut us loose, or rein us into a cell. It's a tenuous. He realizes that we're into something. I think he recognizes that something is going on. He definitely knows that, we've all stumbled. I think he realizes we're not part of the problem. At least I hope he realizes we're not part of the problem. That we're a bunch of idiots that have stumbled into something much bigger and stranger than any of us. And because it is so far afield from his usual bailiwick, if you will. You know, he is sort of decided to give us a little rope, and not keep us on so tight a leash. You know, he's essentially decided to unleash us, and not kind of corral us into a cell. And he's aided us with this photograph, or at least the photograph, I think, is cements that he believes that we're into something very strange that we didn't cause, that we're on the side of good, if you will. That's probably too moralistic. He realizes though, we're not. He realizes that we're mortals and we've stumbled into something that for the moment is beyond mortal ken, or at least beyond his ken. And though he'll, you know, if we become a liability, you know, he'll either, you know, completely disavow us or shut us down or can us up or whatever you want, however you want to say it. But for the moment, I feel like he recognizes that MacSweeney and Smalls, you know, I kept thinking of the scene in Superman, one of the new Superman movies, when the military guy says, when Superman kind of comes stumbling out of it, he had a big fight in Smallville, and the army shows up, and they see Superman trying to protect the people, and the army guy says, "This man," pointing to Superman, "this man is not our enemy." And that's kind of where I see the lieutenant right now. He's sort of that saying or thinking that we're not exactly bosom chums, but he recognizes that we are not his enemy. We are not his problem. Or if we become his problem, you know, he'll either walk away from us or he'll shut us down. But right now, we are useful at best. And, you know, a nuisance at worst at the moment. And that could change at any time. And he doesn't want to compromise his own status or standing. So he showed us that photograph, and then he's pretty much like, yeah, I never showed this to you. You know, don't think that this means I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom to run amok. You know, tread carefully, keep me in the loop, tread carefully, and, you know, good luck. So,
Well, Smalls. I haven't been in the movies in a long time, so I haven't been able to afford them. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about half the time. But
oh,
I will tell you this, Smalls. I don't think he's telling us everything he knows, but he knows something, and I think I think we're at best we're an asset to him, a dangerous asset, which he will absolutely disavow and cut loose, like you said, in a heartbeat. But he said, "Go ahead, but call for help." So I think he kind of wants. I think we're the what do they call them in the Great War, where the guys walking in front to like blow up the mines. We're the canaries in the coal
canaries
mine.
in the coal mine.
We're something like that. He's having us walk in front. Yeah, go ahead. I know you're interested in those mines, so go ahead, walk there. Just call for help. So he wants us. I think he wants us to kind of call when we found something, and we're like this deep in it. Whether he's actually going to pull us out of there, I don't know, but he wants to know what we found.
So it's kind of like a James Bond and M kind of situation where
Who?
M.
You keep talking about stuff.
I know. I'm out of. Sorry. But that relationship, like, okay, good luck to you, but you're going places where if you're caught, we can't officially acknowledge your existence. So, and M has secrets that will never be revealed to Bond. So I get it. So, anyway, but yeah, that's sorry. I'm talking as a player, not necessarily as a cat. So as Smalls, I would agree with you, Mike.
How much time did you spend with that book?
I was.
I think it's addled your brain there,
the
Smalls.
fumes, right? The fumes that were coming off that book.
It's addled your brain.
So that's where we are. So we're
That's where we are.
Yeah, I don't think we kept the photograph. I think he took the photograph.
Oh no, he took. He's left us. He's left us this this little book of ciphers, giving I don't know exactly how much time, but not much.
Right.
So then, was that the plan to stay in that night and work on the book of ciphers, or
I
get some
think so.
hard-earned rest, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't slept that much myself, and I think we kind of woke you up anyway, Smalls. I think from what you said, you guys have probably had about 2 hours of shut eye, maybe, before I came rapping at your door again. So yeah, I'd love to get some shut eye. I mean, I looked at this once. Maybe if it really stumps me, I could have somebody else look at it too. And then I got a couple other ideas. I mean, things that are really bothering me.
Well, then I think maybe a good sleep and a good meal will set us on the right track. We'll think better when we've had our basic needs attended to. So,
yeah, I think that's great. Tommy's got the couch. I take it.
Yes, those are his blankets over there, and I'm well, uh, I was in the Murphy bed over there, so
I'm gonna find the most comfortable chair I can just slump in sideways, however I manage to do it. And I realize it's not going to be great, but
yeah. All right, Smalls does have like a well indented reading chair,
perfect.
long suffering reading chair that's kind of perfect for his form. But you're welcome to it. That and his quilt that his aunt made for him.
I love your aunt, Smalls. All right, for many reasons. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to get some shut eye. I think it's probably the best idea if you get a few hours before we do anything else.
Yes, let us get some shut eye then. We'll tackle this when we're rested and fed.
All right. So a long, uncomfortable night for some, a restful night for others. And the sounds of the city outside drop away, fade into sleep, and then slowly, with the sun, rise again with cart traffic and foot traffic and the calls of paper boys and desperate vendors, even so early in the morning, pushing their heavily laden carts of fish and other perishables, calling out the top of their voices today's prices, today's catches. And Boston comes to wake on Newbury Street with the light of morning streaming through the lacy curtains of Alfred Small's second floor home.
November 1931 is kind to few, least of all the little guys caught between the cold shoreline, the crummy breadline, and the frontline violence of mobsters and G-men. Every day, the news is so bad that people don't even want to line their clothes or shoes with the papers that report it. But the chill talks them into it. Maybe, if they live one more day, it might be work. Although the suffering and the violence are getting worse every day, the papers take any opportunity to write about something else. Scandals, gangsters, socialists and socialites. Hundreds of small fry jump or get jumped every night. But if one rich guy stumbles,
O'Riordan's in the kitchen, sizzling something. Clatter of crockery and cutlery. And the smell of should have been taken off the stove a moment ago is starting to fill the space.
It smells like my cooking. Oh, God.
You don't have to
it sure
eat
is
it.
not that comfortable. I will. I brew some from the Smalls coffee. I know where all the stuff is now. I've seen him take it out enough times.
O'Riordan states, I went out and got some supplies. I got the paper. It's on the table, right? Table's set. Then he's starting to bring the food over.
Thanks, Tommy. Yeah.
He's just kind of
Thank you,
moving back and
Tommy.
forth between the table and the sink. You know, like he's hovering and bringing sugar over and getting milk. And
Yeah. Pick up the daily rag and just say, I even want to know. Just look
Is
and
it-
see if
is it-
anything pops out of me.
Is it the Boston Post or is it your arch rivals at the Boston Globe? Oh,
Well, listen. That's better. I don't want to see who's taking my spot in the paper. Not that I have much of a spot, but anything jumping out at me, or is it?
well, there are a couple of articles about the massacre, of course, right? There are some other things, different, accidents, but the massacre appears in the editorial column. It's mentioned in the letters pages. It's, of course, a front page story still, but it's just recycling the details. And police are silent. Police have no suspects. This kind of thing. No detectives are mentioned by name yet, so you know that they're not starting to grind the hatchet to go after the police force quite yet, but they've started to plant the idea that this investigation is taking longer than they would like.
Now, this is the Monday morning edition. It's September 16th, so there might not be any actual new news in this edition.
Yeah. That figures. It's the Globe. All sensationalism. No last minute. They're unable to turn on a dime like the Pokes, Smalls. Anyhow. So I got a couple thoughts, Smalls.
do tell.
Well, first off, I gotta take a look at this book again, and see if we can make any kind of headway with it. If not, we got to get it to somebody because the lieutenant's going to want it back soon, and I'd like to see what it says. It occurred to me too. I think right now the cops are kind of lost, and what I mean is not like who done it, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know how many dirty cops there were, how many straight cops there were. Most of them, I think, were kind of on the take a little bit from the O'Shaughnessy's. And I don't have a bad feeling about the lieutenant. I really don't. But think of it. All of a sudden, I think there's a whole bunch of cops with no second source of income anymore. And I don't think they would know where to go. Like I'm not sure exactly how this works because I've never been a dirty cop, but I'm pretty sure you don't go knocking on the next available mobster's door and say, "Hey, you know, I could help you out." I'm pretty sure it works the other way around. And my guess, I got this feeling that this Morgan character didn't exactly go solicit all the police and said, "Hey, would you like to be on the take now? Would you like to be on my payroll now?" So I think there's an awful lot of cops right now with no idea what they're supposed to do, or a little bit lost. I don't know if that's to our advantage or not to our advantage, but it's something I think just to kind of keep an eye on. But I really think I'd like to talk to Errol again at some point.
I'm sorry,
You know what's
who?
what to Errol, that my friend in the at the paper. Oh God, whatever his name.
In the morgue, the newspaper
Yeah.
morgue.
Well, yeah. Then you know, gosh, what the hell's his name again? Hold on for a second. It'll come to me in a second.
Alexander Carter.
Yeah, Alexander Carter. Yeah, that poor bastard. Well, he never told me his name. You know, I already called him Errol, but you know, I have a feeling that he might be able to help us out a little bit more with the history of this. You know what it is, Smalls? I don't think we need. You know, I don't want to go back and I'm not going to get a story out of reading all this history and whatnot. A lot of these guys are dead, I think. But this fellow Morgan, something's bothering me about him. He just appeared out of nowhere. But he appeared out of nowhere with an awful lot of connections.
So you want to investigate Boss Morgan?
Who is this guy? Who is this X? I mean, listen, I know like you said, like walking in the lion's den. It's the last guy I should be searching out again after all he's done. And I clearly how dangerous he is, but if anything's going on, he's at the bottom of it. And then I still, you know what? That I shouldn't have ticked off that Gavigan lawyer so much. I wonder if I can get back in touch with them. I haven't talked about Albert at all, but I don't want their money.
Yeah.
I mean, he was involved with that. Nobody's seen his brother in years. All these things, I just keep on thinking there's a connection between all that.
Well, I keep asking myself, what is the end game of all this? Like, we've certainly had strange encounters happen to us. We've been put through the ringer. And yet, here are the three of us, young Tommy here, yourself, and myself. Okay. Well, where have people been hurt? We don't know. I mean, Boss Morgan is definitely a strange and dangerous seeming man with uncanny abilities, no doubt. We know that he's out there somewhere. We know there's that god-awful cabbie, and then the other henchman, the tattooed man. We know that they're out there. And but at this point, who are we avenging? Who are we avenging? Who are we taking to task for what has happened to us? We know that some of Tommy's good friends were in that office and they paid the ultimate price for their involvement. So I wonder, it's an open-ended question, but I suppose who are we on the scent of? Are we in this? I guess what I'm saying, Terrence and Tommy, at this moment, who are we fighting for? We've got the detective who is on our bench, or at least in our dugout. But who are we looking to? Are we still looking to find out what happened to poor Albert? Is he Mr. Gavigan? Is he, as far as we know, he's still a victim of arcane forces. Do we go to the Gavigans and try to tackle this from the point of getting somewhere to help the Gavigans? Do we tackle this from the vantage of those of Tommy's group who are still alive? Are we, in other words, who are we going after, and who are we going after? You know, what is our mission? Have we got, is it mission creep? Is it, are we here to investigate this journal? Are we here to investigate the Silver Twilight? Are we here to find out about that? I'm sure all of these things are all intertwined in a web of occult mystery, but we need to pick a lane, and we need to travel on it, see what we can find. Otherwise, I see we may be herring off after Boss Morgan and getting ourselves into hot water there, or we may be bumping up against the Silver Twilight Lodge and getting into some sort of situation, either going back to that farm, that terrible farm.
Oh, no.
Or we spend time deciphering this strange book, and it gives us some ideas of where next to chase down what may be happening.
Yeah, no.
Would you like some more coffee?
Yeah.
Love some. Thank you.
Yeah.
He's refilling the coffee cups. He says, "If I may."
Yeah.
You have a voice in this, Tom, equal to all of us.
The dirty cops. It won't take long for the payoffs to circulate back through the department. They don't care who the money's coming from.
Right.
And if you want to talk to some guys that I'm pretty sure are still on the payroll, well, anyway, still paid up till the end of the month kind of thing, I can arrange that. But I'm not sure what they would be able to tell you. Because a lot of the contact men that a person might deliver a payment to are among those who disappeared. Like maybe you remember when we picked you up to take you to, and like his voice breaks, right? Then he kind of take you to the office to meet Dr. Call.
Yeah.
Maybe you remember an Officer Malone.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Oh, he was the one that said good day and all that, and pretty much didn't care, looked the other way and didn't really care whether they were taking me to my death or not. I mean, no offense, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, his older brother had been missing for almost as long as Mickey.
Really?
Yeah, and he is, our point of contact with that squad of officers, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe wouldn't be a bad idea because, I mean, no, I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to say it's indelicately timed, but like the thing is, right now, I don't think they're going to be getting any more funds from you. But these,
No,
I'm guessing, yeah, but I'm
but
guessing these cops probably. Go ahead.
that's what I want to bring up is that, and no offense, and I likewise don't want to be indelicate, but I'm not sure. Neither one of you has the money
No, we don't.
to do whatever it is that you're talking about doing. You don't have the money for bribes. You don't have the money for guns. Mr. Smalls, no offense, but I haven't seen any customers in days.
Yeah, that is true. I've been letting my business matters slide while I've been drawn into this whole scenario.
So it strikes me that you saved the life of a very rich man who has some important information he doesn't want known. And you might not want to put the finger on him to say, pay me for my silence. I didn't like that lawyer either. I wanted to knock him back out the door and introduce him to the gutters and maybe drag him up and down the street a little bit, show him what Newberry Street's really all about. But I didn't think that you'd appreciate that very much, Mr. Small, so I kind of held my peace. But
I might have been okay with it, but yeah, go ahead, Tom.
well, you and I are a lower class of man.
Gentlemen, we are all equals here.
I'll let him talk. Let him speak freely. Smalls, go ahead.
But it seems to me that your friend, Mr. Driscoll, high and mighty Albert Gavigan needed Eddie Driscoll.
Right.
And then he disappeared into wherever he went, and now he's back. But whatever it was that he wanted Eddie to do has not been done.
You're right.
And
You're right.
and Eddie wasn't going to do it for free.
So perhaps we visit the Gavigan estate. If they can, we can certainly check on Albert. We have a right to know how he's doing.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to care too much about our rights, but
well, I'm sure he's recovering at the Gavigan estate. We could check on that. Perhaps we could, as Tommy says, we could take up where Eddie left off, and maybe we could get some straight talk if he's recovered enough. We could get some straight talk out of Albert, or if he's too far gone in his manias, poor man, whatever happened to him in his time spent with that horrible thing. Perhaps there are others at his estate who are aware of the troubles, and because we're part of that, we're someone they can communicate with versus someone who wouldn't believe the reality of all of this.
well, I did want to go over there at some point.
If it keeps me from having to go to my aunt to ask for funds, that would be a very good thing.
All right. Let's do that first. So I still want to take a look at
to
this
clear
box.
away the dishes.
Aunt Tilly is a kind woman, and fairly well heeled, but there's something a bit belittling about a middle-aged man going to his elderly aunt for another infusion of material.
I understand. Jeez. All right. I suppose we should. Well, gee, you called the Gavigan estate beforehand. Well, they didn't get terribly far.
Perhaps we should go in person to
Why
their
not?
home, to their estate.
Why not?
Okay.
Would it be common knowledge, like where a moneyed family would have their homestead?
Yeah, growing up
I think
in Boston, there's no doubt that you've driven by the estate more
Yeah.
than once. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So as you make your way out onto the cool but much less uncomfortable streets, there is a moving truck kind of blocking the lane, and burly men are unloading furniture and easels and lots of drop cloths. It looks like an artist is moving in next door. And you know, it's kind of an agitated fellow arguing about the rents with the landlady for this block, right? Your landlady, the neighbor's landlady.
Mm-hmm.
You get a polite nod. And,
All right. So, is this the artist who appears to be arguing with the landlady about the prices, or like is it some wild-haired, sort of bohemian-looking type?
doesn't I mean, it doesn't. What does an artist look like? But if you were to pick an artist out of a lineup, it would not be this man. You know, he's very straight, of an age to and of the right bearing to have served in the Great War.
Mhm.
Well dressed, kind of stern lined face, and he's disputing, you know, an increase in the rent with the landlady. She doesn't give you any grief, but she clearly has changed her mind about the tenant, who does not seem to be this man, because she keeps saying your friend. She's concerned about damages and this kind of thing, and so he's given you the nod of greeting, that kind of thing, but she's continuing to talk about business on the sidewalk where anyone can hear, and he's got that uncomfortable, you know, like just drawing himself up, like, madam, perhaps you should we should go inside to discuss
Right. All right, well, I'll try to, I know we're all three of us are there, MacSweeney and Tommy and are there with myself. I will step up to the stern man and the landlady, and I'll say, pardon me for interrupting, but am I to have a new neighbor? And I'll put my hand out. I know it's not really him, you know, he's probably not the one, but just to make it seem, try to smooth things over, I'll put my hand out forthrightly and, you know, say, Alfred Smalls, antiquities dealer.
nods his head, like, automatically. There's that hint of heels clicking together, you know, shakes your hand, firm grip, says,
Good grip.
Thurber, your shop looks very nice.
Oh, well, yes. I'll slip him one of my business cards. If you have anybody looking to have anything assessed, or anything of that, or an apartment furnished with fine antiquities, I'm
Well,
your man.
I had that in mind. My young artist friend, this is going to be his studio. He's not going to be living here. He's not going to be having wild parties, madam.
Well, I will leave you. I apologize for interrupting your conversation. It's a pleasure meeting you, Mr. Thurber. Oh, and Miss Peterson, nice to see you as well.
Mr. Smalls, have you taken on tenants?
Oh, pardon me, Mrs. Peterson. This is my good friend Terence MacSweeney, and this is my other good friend here, Tommy O'Riordan. No, no, not tenants, but we were up discussing matters deep into the night, and I just couldn't send them out at 3 in the morning. I knew that that might be a little bit too noisy for the street, and also they decided to hunker down at my place, stay the night. But we're off
I
now
don't
on
need
our.
the sordid details of your life, Mr. Smalls. And you can tell she's not looking at faces. She's not really interested in meeting
Yeah.
people, but she is checking collars and cuffs and elbows. She's looking at the quality of clothing and the quality of shoe.
Right.
Right.
All right. Well, so as I was saying, I didn't mean to interrupt your conversation. I wish
But
you
you
the
did.
best. But I did, yes. Well, it's always good. How could I not say hello to my favorite landlady? Nice to see you, as always, Mrs. Peterson. And
Have
pleasure to.
have a good day, Mr. Smalls.
Yes, yes.
Come with me,
You too.
Mr. Thurber. Let's talk about this studio business. I was under the impression that this would be his apartment. They're moving off into the.
Mm. Ah, she's a tough one, that Mrs. Peterson. I suppose she has to be dealing with tenants all the time, but it's made her a sharp woman and washed away some of the kindlier elements of her gender.
She'd
Hurry in
fit
and
right
call a
into the
cab.
mob.
Smalls will be walking.
Uh, we should call a cab.
Right.
And
Actually,
so,
can we swing? I'm gonna swing by my house like real fast just to change. 5 minutes.
Oh, of course.
and so,
Yeah.
by hiring a cab, you make your way to the tenement housing of Terence MacSweeney.
I'll be right back, fellas. Give me like 5-10 minutes. 10 minutes.
No problem. I'm going to look hopefully up and down to see if there might be a bakery or a bread shop or anything like that. Someplace we can get some breakfast.
Nothing like the bakeries on Newbury Street. Much simpler fare. And in front of, this is a row of basically tenement housing and converted warehouse space converted into, like one room, short term renting spaces and the like. But there's a small collection of down on their luck individuals, right? Bundled up in summer wear against, the November chill. We're having, a rally, as Terrence is making his way toward the front door. There's a slightly better, badly dressed fellow who's giving out encouragement. If you come down, there's work, right? There's one good meal. It's so you can get your feet under you. And so, like, he's calling for carpenters, and he's calling for painters, and he's calling for other people with other crafts, like finishers, interior finishers, and kind of stuff. There's good work and there's good wages, that kind of thing.
What's his? I'll kind of, while we're waiting for MacSweeney to put on his new trousers or whatever, I'll kind of approach the edge of the crowd to see if I can catch an idea of where or for whom this work, who is the employer, what's the outfit that's promising a decent meal and some work. Is it a church? Is it an individual? Is it a, I don't know.
That part of the
business?
conversation you may have missed.
Okay.
But the addresses he's giving to people, they all seem to be warehouses or down along the docks.
Okay.
In the meantime, I kind of give that a cursory glance when I'm run up to my apartment, like all business,
Okay.
just changing clothes as fast as I can, that sort of thing. Throw a little water in my face.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's not my kind of work. So, I'm gonna sort of, while still hanging back from the crowd a little bit, keeping it within earshot, I'll look and see if there might be a bread cart or any kind of a street vendor, maybe selling pastries, off of a two-wheeled cart kind of a thing. Or if not, I'm mentally scheming how close it would be to the nearest eatery or area that I think I could get some food.
From the
us.
perspective of a portable pastry cart, this street is the land of unfulfilled dreams.
Coming back down, I'm like, all right, Smalls, I'm good.
Very well. Perhaps we get something to eat, and then we head out to the Gavigan estate. Yes.
Oh, come on, that's probably it. Maybe a little.
Mr. Smalls, Mr. Smalls.
Oh, yes, yes.
We just had breakfast, sir.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and it was delicious. It was what you put on for us was wonderful, Tommy. Sometimes when I get to cogitating, I forget. I lose track of time. I thought it was almost lunchtime. But you're right. You're right. I should pat my stomach. I should probably work on this a little bit.
You're not stalling, are you, Smalls?
No, not at all. No. We should be heading out. But
all right.
Yes, but Tommy's right. I should stick to that one. We had a delicious repast. His skills at the skillet were excellent. But
yeah, if you like how things taste burnt, I'm your man.
Well, when they're burnt, they can't be. That overcooked is better than undercooked. So that's
what my mom used to say. Says carbon is where we get vitamin C.
Yep. Your mom is very wise. Okay, let's hop a cab and get to the Gavigan place.
Well, there's a certain lightness of coinage that may need to be addressed. Between you have enough money for a taxi out to the Gavigans. If you walk, you could be there in a little over an hour. Walking, oh my God.
That sounds horrible. Oh, I don't think my legs could take it.
Trolley's cheap.
Who knows? All right, let's take the trolley. No, the heck not.
Good idea. Good idea.
Right.
So
As you make
climb
your
aboard.
way through the trolley system, right out toward the Gavigan estate, Tommy just subtly points out, as you see police officers in the crowd or going about their daily business, like on the take, on the take, on the take, gonna retire, on the take.
I mean, how are they going to know who to go to now?
They'll figure it out.
Well, no, Tommy's in the business, then, so to speak.
So, like I said, there are men that deal with guys like me, low enough in the organization that if I get picked up by a more legitimate authority, it doesn't go anywhere. I don't know anything. I'm not connected to anybody.
Right.
And those men, likewise, they're the end of the line, right? So they know who they can recruit. We pay the one man distributes the pay amongst the other. It builds that sense of camaraderie and immediate feedback.
Right. That makes sense.
So it won't take long. It might even already be done. It may have been done before what happened.
Yeah.
Who's your friend there, Anthony? Who's that?
Now, this is Kobe,
Hi,
the
Kobe.
English setter.
Hey, Kobe. How
You
we
can't
doing
hear
there,
you
buddy?
because of my headphones.
Oh, okay. How old is
But
Kobe?
he feels Tommy O'Riordan's great sadness at losing all of
He
his
does.
friends. Kobe is
Yeah.
9. He's going to be
Okay.
10 this year.
All right. Fantastic.
He is a fantastic individual. English setter. It's kind of rare in this country.
Yeah.
So, as you arrive, right, far away from the tenement housing of Terrence MacSweeney, also far away from the quiet serenity of Newberry Street, right, on a rise from which you can look over, right, the water part of the city, where it's secluded, trees lining the streets, wide sidewalks, and the Gavigan estate has a wall. Wrought iron gate. I suppose you could climb the wall, but atop the wall is again spikes. There's wealth here that has had wealth for generations upon generations, through periods where it needed to be defended.
Right.
And now, of course, we have the desperate desire for the very best of neighbors, which requires the very best of fences.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, how do we get somebody's attention there, Smalls?
Is there a call box at the
There is
the gate?
a gate man.
Even better.
Now, from the street, you can't see the house from the side of the street that the house front gate abuts. From the other side of the street, you can just barely see the rooftops through the trees, and it's quite large.
Right.
So there's a liveried man at the gate inside a rain shelter, right?
Okay.
Stand in.
Yeah.
And he's been watching you the whole time since you got off the trolley, because there's really nothing else happening on on the street.
Right. So you've clearly indicated to him that we want to talk to him.
Would you like to do the talking, Mr. MacSweeney, or shall I?
I sometimes tend to irritate people. However, let's both. You just take the lead. Why not?
I'll step up to the gatekeeper. Hello, my good fellow. My name is Alfred Smalls, and I will give him one of my cards for my shop. These are my associates, Mr. Terence MacSweeney of the Boston Post, and my other friend over here, Mr. Thomas O'Riordan, at large, Boston. We're here to inquire after Mr. Albert Gavigan. We'd like to check in on his well-being. We were part of the events that of the last few days, and if he's sufficiently recovered and able to speak, we'd like to have a few words with him. If he is unavailable or unable to, is not sufficiently recovered, there may be someone in the household who is able to speak to these matters. They are of some urgency. I realize this is an unusual request and that the family cherishes its privacy. However, given the somewhat unusual nature of our call, I do believe it would be important for us to either be admitted or if you'd rather to give my card to Mr. Gavigan or one of his people and have them call, that would be fine as well. I don't want to make this awkward in any way. We realize that these are sensitive matters.
One moment. Then he steps into his rain shelter. It doesn't have a door or anything, but it does have not a phone, some kind of local area telephone.
I'll step away, give him his moment. I don't want to be right there at his shoulder when he's doing all this.
He puts the earpiece up and he leans into the blower. And you can hear, there's a Alfred Smalls and some others present. Yes, I understand. Well, please wait here, and someone will arrive to escort you to the house.
Oh, thank you kindly.
And then he resumes surveying the street.
Excellent.
Right.
Maybe, Smalls, maybe don't mention my affiliation with the paper. Might not be the best tack. Just,
Well, I think that, you shouldn't be worried about that, Terence. It's a good job. You're man of the people.
That's not the point. That's not the point, Smalls.
Fair enough. Fair enough. They might recognize you from some of your articles.
They might. I'm sure they'll be thrilled that a reporter is entering the household.
Now, walking towards you, right, you can see through the bars of the gate, coming down the curving lane from the main house, is the lawyer.
Excellent.
And he steps through a smaller gate inside the gate. Gentlemen,
Oh, hello, good sir.
how can we help you?
Perhaps we got off on the wrong foot before. I think I misunderstood where you were coming from. So, Alfred, Smalls and I, and our friend Reardon here, we've had some interactions with Mr. Gavigan. We're really concerned about his well-being, but more than that, well, let me start off with saying I have no intention of making anything public. That's really not my intention, and I don't want compensation for not doing that. That's not the point. However, I know there were matters that were very concerning to Mr. Gavigan, and that he solicited my associate Eddie Driscoll, confidential investigator, and that he might still want these matters attended to. And I believe we're in the position to maybe continue to do that, where Mr. Driscoll was unable to. And perhaps we could be more circumspect than somebody else because we understand the nature of this request and the nature of these concerns he had. And I think we understand a bit of the history behind them. And so because of that, we understand the need for discretion.
If it were up to me, it would have been a less pleasant reception. Come in, gentlemen.
Thank you.
It begins the long walk back to the house.
Going to stay a few steps behind him on the graveled path, taking in everything, just trying to sort of like this is an interesting. I've never, this is stepping into a private world of the moneyed elite, and so just trying to hide my curiosity as we what this you go past these places and you wonder you never get a look at what's around the bend past the gate, and here we are sort of proceeding into that world. So I'm doing my level best. Smalls is doing his level best to appear studiously neutral, but at the same time is taking in every little detail of the grounds, the house, all of that, just to sort of this is how the other half lives. So
Well, the house is a sprawling 2-story, gable roofed monstrosity, really. Turret rooms and porches and porticos, and for a moment, just the way the angle allows you to see through the greenery, which of course is not terribly green at the moment. You can see that behind the house looks like there's a long cedar maze. But in front of the house, right, as this path curves its way, right, through gently rolling, sculpted, finely grassed but currently brown, right, lawns, is a topiary. Right? And on your left, as you make your way, there are animal shapes, right? Majestic stag, bison, bear, these kinds of things. But on your right, these same animals are presented in a more dynamic format, like in coats of arms, you might have, a lion or something standing, all four legs, and gazing regally out of the heraldic device. But in other signs, they're rampant, they're rearing up, and this is the dichotomy that you're seeing. There's a bear here, placid, peaceful, walking, and yet over here is rearing up, aggressively. So this is the path up to the house, which is wide enough for 2 horse carriages, and certainly wide enough now for automobile traffic. And there's a small parking area in front of the house where 2 large, black, highly polished, well-maintained vehicles are being polished, religiously by service staff. The lawyer ushers you up to the main doors.
All right. Unconsciously smooth my tie over my sweater vest.
Right.
Or under my sweater vest.
So he opens the door. There's a butler, or whatever position this man, major domo or something like that,
some functionary
inside, who's ready to indicate to younger servants to take your coats and your hats, and and he has that school teacher stare as you come through the porch, right, to the mat where shoes should be wiped, and right.
So I'm taking the hint,
I will behave ourselves.
And you're ushered in and to the right to a sitting room or parlor. Right. And the highly polished, perfectly fit wood floors of the entryway are replaced by thick carpet, muted colors, but incredible workmanship.
Yeah, so I sit down and wait.
There's
just look at
lots of places to sit all around the room. Huge window bringing in the afternoon or morning light, sorry. And just family portraits and paintings of expeditions, and you can see the pyramids over there, and canal over there, and mountain over here.
Right. Kind of taking each face as I'm just, I'm sitting down. I'm kind of gazing at each picture and sort of looking at all the faces. And
yeah, Smalls is thinking about all the hungry people that we've encountered, over these last few months, and people that are wearing threadbare clothes, and the tenement houses that MacSweeney just ducked into to change his clothes. And it's just sort of, he's thinking it's almost sinful, just this amount of luxury and insulation, from the outside world, that so few should enjoy so much. He thinks about, the sort of, was it the Bolsheviks over in, Russia, all the trouble stirring over there. And, people say, oh, it can't happen here. But then, you see he's thinking about the bread lines and the Pinkertons beating down the people that, standing up for more rights. And then you see this sort of, this genteel place with all the plushness and the comfort, and yet it's about as comfortable as a morgue, because it's all meant for show. There's no emotion here. It's all there's no, it's yeah. When's the last time this this room has rung out with children's laughter or the yipping of a dog, or all that kind of stuff. Is just keeping it all to himself. He's not sermonizing to Thomas or Terrence, but just as he kind of sits down on puts his sizable self on one of the ends of one of the sofas, he's kind of looking around, thinking about all the want and privation, and then you come to a place like this and all this money, and yet I'm sure it's things are much happier at Bob Cratchit's home, despite all his want and privation.
Two maids make their way in through not a hidden door, but a door that is blended into the woodwork of the wall. A servant's entrance, right? It opens noiselessly. They come through with trays, one with coffee and tea service, the other with cakes and pastries and steaming slices of perfectly buttered toast. And
I just kind of look at Smalls. I give Smalls like an eye, And
all right.
Just thank the young ladies profusely,
Smiles, yeah, Smalls smiles. And then quickly amends his inner monologue. Maybe I've misjudged them. And yeah, he'll tuck into the food. Not like a slob, not like an orc, but like he'll just as nicely as he can.
Yeah, so the silver tea service is so highly polished, you can see your faces in it. But just out of the corner of your eye, Alfred Smalls, you see your smile of pleasure at this food lay before you. As you lean in to pick it up, you see it distort and stretch across the rounded surface of the silver tea service.
The face of greed. What's that, Terrence?
One leg at a time, Smalls. One leg at a time. That's how they put their pants on, all these people.
Yes, and butter their bread.
Tommy's sitting uncomfortably on the very edge of the seat. And of course, from an appraiser's point of view, any one of these pieces of furniture could buy a home.
Right.
And then you hear slow footsteps, and not a squeaking of wheels, but the movement of wheels across the wooden floors. And Albert Gavigan is wheeled into the room. He's in a high-backed, wheeled chair. Looks very weak. He's all wrapped up in blankets, and under the blankets, he has a heavy house coat in velvet, right, in a rich red.
He's being wheeled in by a servant.
Yes.
Is the lawyer still standing by, or?
He is, with that look of disdain that might be a look that his face has frozen into in defiance of his mother's admonitions not to make that face.
Mr. Gavigan, it's good to see you.
He looks up and nods, and he's wheeled into the room, right between the chair where Terrence is and where Alfred is. And he reaches out one shaking hand. He's not an old man. He's not a young man either, but his hand is almost palsied. And, they're definitely his clothes, but he looks to have lost weight. Then he reaches out to Terrence. Right. Not really to shake hands, because it's this way, but more like he wants to grip you, but he can't quite reach.
Yeah. I'll move closer to him. I'll let him, let him make contact.
Right, so he makes contact, and it's just like that. It's almost like an electric shock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the second hand comes and grabs your arm, and the first one feels its way up past your elbow, and he's holding as tightly as he can, just not terribly tightly. And he's leaning in close. Terrence MacSweeney.
Yes, that's me, sir.
My anchor.
Oh, I suppose so. Sorry, I couldn't do more, sir. Hear about the books.
Real pained expression flashes across his face. Did you burn them? He's whispering like he doesn't want the lawyer to hear, but.
Right.
Did you burn
them? We need to find the rest. I know that one is gone. Gone where, I can't say, but I know you talked to my friend Mr. Driscoll. But I'd like to. I understand how important they are. We understand, and I look at Smalls. We understand how important they are.
So he's like now becoming aware that there's others in the room. So he's looking at Smalls, and he looks at O'Riordan, and he stiffens. Nails are digging into your arm weakly. He says, "Abomination!" Pointing at O'Riordan. "Get them out of here!" And things happen. Men come in, the lawyer kind of puffs up his chest. Gavigan is being wheeled out quickly. "It's time for you to leave." It's a burly man who came from somewhere.
I guess it is. We'll go.
Yep. I guess we'll get up. That was a very strange reaction that Mr. Gavigan had to us. I'll say to the man or men around us, just kind of say like, puzzled, genuinely puzzled. Like that was a very strange reaction, but he's obviously very disturbed. You have my sympathies. We'll trouble your household no more.
The impassive face of the guards is untroubled by your apology, but they're like the tide. They are sweeping you,
yeah,
in a threateningly non-threatening way.
Right now, as we're being escorted back out of the estate, is the lawyer with us, or are the guards just taking them by themselves?
Yes, the lawyer is schooling his features, but is no less disturbed than you.
Right. I look at the lawyer, say, well, kind of at the guard, the man that's escorting me out, and the lawyer, in my best non-threatening, non-snarky, manner for Terrence. So I understand he's clearly very, he's been through a lot. So, but what I don't understand is this. He's the only member of the family left, isn't he? His brother hasn't come back, has he? Where's the money coming from? Is it going to run out?
No, it's not.
Then who's in charge of it? If there isn't any of the family spending it, who owns it?
I guess, as a reporter, those are the kinds of questions you'd want to ask. I want to know, however, who this young man is that has upset Mr. Gavigan so. Why you would bring him here.
It's just a friend of ours. Nobody in particular. Nobody special. And he was with us. He was with us when we rescued Mr. Gavigan. He helped carry him. Without him, he wouldn't be alive.
Do you know the location of the other books?
No. I don't know the location, although I suspect who might have them. I know who was very interested in them, who was very interested in that one. At least I know one person is still alive who was very interested in those books. All the rest of them are dead as far as I know.
Find the books and bring them to me, and it will be worth your while. Speak a word about anything that happened here today. He lets the threat just hang.
Do you think you're going to scare me more than Morgan? I'll look dead at him.
Maybe not.
You haven't met Morgan, have you?
I'll step up as well, sir. But I'm sorry. What's your name, sir? I missed it the first time.
I didn't give you my name the first time.
And what do you go by, sir?
Bring the books here.
So you don't want to give your name. That's cute. Listen, you may see 3 pawns in some game that you think that you're a master of, but let me tell you something. The 3 of us have encountered something that cares nothing for any of this. And all of your earthly power and all of your worldly influence, it's not even on the same playing field as what we've encountered, what that poor man encountered. We came here today to try and help in the face of that. A very human response to a very inhuman something that is out there and may not yet be done with your Lord Master in there, and may not yet be done with any of you who find, and ourselves. So just remember that we came here to try and help.
And look what effect it had.
I wish you a good day. Yes, that was a bit of a surprising response, wasn't it? And I'm sorry for that. I don't know why he got so upset at young Mr. O'Riordan. That was an unusual response. I can't explain that. And I'm sorry if that made you upset and triggered our removal. It's Mr. Gavigan's home. If he doesn't want us in it, so be it. I just want you to understand that we're all, you may not like us, you may despise us, but please understand that all of us collectively are dealing with something that cares not a whit for any of our petty dislikes of one another, any of our illusions of grandeur. So just take a moment to consider that.
My employer is on the edge of a breakdown. I would like to keep him out of the mental hospital, out of the asylum, It's very important to him that those books be recovered. He wants to see them destroyed. That's what I want. I hope that's what you want.
But we'll work to that end.
And we will treat it as work, and we will make sure that you don't suffer financially as a result of your efforts.
I appreciate that. We appreciate that. We wish you good day, anonymous caregiver. And gentlemen, I think we've had our time here. It's time for us to be someplace else.
So under escort, you make your way out the gates and onto the quiet, peaceful street.
Take out my notebook and I cross off lawyer and Gavigan estate, like just as I've got them in this little list. You see how hard was that, Smalls? That was something else. You should go into politics. That was a hell of a speech. All right.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, Mr. Smalls. I don't know what I did.
No, you did nothing wrong, Thomas. Nothing at all. You've been stalwart and noble throughout this whole strange odyssey. So you have nothing to apologize for.
I don't know. He took one look at me and he was like he'd seen the devil.
Well,
listen, I don't know if you noticed, but he's a few cards short of a deck. Anybody would be after all that, but who knows what he thought he saw?
Well, he was happy to see you.
Yeah. Still wish I knew what the hell happened to his brother. Anyhow,
it may be a mystery for another day. And you're a devil that I'd be proud to have at my right hand or at my back at any time, Thomas.
speaking of right hand, what do you think was up with that? What do you call that stuff, topiary? I think that was.
Oh yes, the topiary gardens. Who knows?
Yeah. All I could think of was there were two brothers, and maybe they had very different personalities. Maybe, who knows what the hell rich people do? But they put their pants on one leg at a time, Smalls.
Indeed, they do. Indeed, they do.
If you don't have any objections, Smalls, I mean, I say we go back to your place, and if you want to eat, go ahead. I think I'm going to take a crack at that book, but I'm just gonna call the lieutenant and just let him know what we saw. And if the lawyer wants to come and kill me, great. Go ahead. He can get in line.
Yeah, very well. It must be near lunchtime by now.
You didn't have enough toast and cakes?
Burn right through those. All that excitement.
So it's a long wait for the trolley. As it winds its way back into town, hunger spreading deep through the heart of Alfred Smalls. Tommy seems to make up his mind. Says, I'm going to go check in, see what's going on, and I'll come back tonight and let you know what I found out.
right.
Thanks, Tom.
Careful. Be careful out there.
You too. Don't go anywhere.
Oh no, I'm just going back to I might actually hang out my open sign for a few hours. See if I can
That might
drum
be
up
a-
some business.
Might be a good idea. In this economy, people are in desperate need of antiques.
Yeah, well.
And he kind of jumps off the trolley.
Oh, did you feel that cold wind, MacSweeney?
Oh yeah.
Oh, little chilly gusts just now.
It's got a little bit of spunk now, doesn't he?
He does. He does.
So I am gonna just phone the lieutenant. If I don't get him, I'll just leave him a message. Just give me a call.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and then
Gentlemen,
take.
we'll close the curtain on tonight's festivities.
Good stuff.
I've always wanted to visit the Gavigan estate, and now we have.
And now we have. Yes, we have.
It
Yep.
went swimmingly.
It did.
Yeah.
It was creepy in so many different ways.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the area and where I work. I work at the college, and a lot of the street, it's Route 127 in Beverly, and that used to be where a lot of the moneyed people from Boston would have their summer homes. And I've seen some of the old pictures of the old houses and estates and things. And yeah, I mean, even now, like you can't, there's a lot of them have actually, like one or two have burned down over time, things happen. Others were sold and literally, crazy. Beautiful homes, they demolish them, they sell them off, demolish them, or subdivide the land to make several spacious lots. So the original manor is gone, but they've got the lots. But what's interesting, I go for walks in the better weather. There's actually Smalls and I are actually we're a lot more alike than you might imagine. I go
No.
yeah. There's a little pizzeria and ice cream shop. Two shops. There's like a pizzeria, and right next to it a seasonal ice cream shop. And in this little village called Beverly Farms. And when I leave the college, like I go down the road, and all you see are these big walls, these old like masonry walls. Some of them are still kept up. Others are like the creeper vines have crawled over them and pulled them down, and others you can only see the pillars where the gate used to be. Like there's no wall anymore or fence, but there's just two pillars, and you can still see these winding drives. Some of them kept up, and there are actually houses back there and private roads. It says private road, no admittance, all that kind of stuff is still up there. Others you can kind of glimpse a little bit through the trees, and sometimes you can see buildings, sometimes you can't see anything, but it's a lot like that. This kind of very moneyed sort of area.
Right.
The college, actually, where I work, we have a bunch of some of the bigger homes, like the college has purchased over the years, and incorporated it into the grounds of the camp. In fact, that was the founding of the college, was one of the old estates. Like they bought it to be the first building. It was like the college was all of one building, and then over the decades it's gotten bigger, and we have new buildings, but we also have some of these old buildings. But the whole neighborhood is like that. Like the whole little area of a few miles are all of these beautiful. I assume they're beautiful. Those that I can kind of see as I
Right.
take my walk up to the pizzeria. And in fact,
The
there's
faded,
even what's that?
faded glory of former East Coast
Yeah,
splendor.
it really is. Yeah, yeah. You wonder like where did the money go, or did it stay with those people and they've just their descendants have gone on and are someplace else with their money, or are there still some homes existing? I think there are maybe a few that are left. But I've seen old pictures and I've seen like also like famous architects that built those houses. Sometimes the architects were more famous than the residents. Um, and
Right.
just crazy, like Great Gatsby style, you know, houses, and you've got a house when like your house has a name, like Mistlewood or Agassiz
Falling
House,
water.
or yeah, yeah, they've all got like these names,
Yeah.
and Thistlewood and all this kind of stuff. Uh, so
Yes, you
yeah,
in a sense you were transported to another plane of existence to visit the Gavigan estate. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of neat to be sort of role playing it, but then in my day-to-day life I pull kind of like a Walter Mitty, like I'm doing my day job, but in my mind, I'm imagining these adventures as I'm trudging
Yeah.
along to get my ice cream cone or whatever. But yeah, and I can look across the water because the college has both sides of the street at a couple of places, and so we've got waterfront on one side, and I can look out and I can see Marblehead across the water. And like Salem Harbor is like tucked in, but like directly across, I can see the light, Marblehead light, poking up. And I like to imagine it's Daisy's Light, and Great Gatsby. But also Marblehead being Lovecraft's Kingsport. It's kind of neat to kind of
Yeah.
be at ground zero and kind of look over at Kingsport. In fact, I ran into Donovan Laux at I don't know if you guys are familiar with him at all, but he's been at some of the Necronomicon Providence conventions, and he's done a lot of like cartography, like kind of like he's sort of an amateur historian, amateur cartographer, geographer. And I ran into him one time at one of the conventions, and I told him where I worked, and he said, "Oh yeah, the gates to the front gates of your college are actually geographically where Lovecraft would have put Kingsport, like right there. Like, the actual like Marblehead is actually like across the water, but I can see it. But like Kingsport, if you look at particularly the Chaosium maps,
Right.
and and I think they go back to Lovecraft, some of Lovecraft's old maps. I don't, but particularly the Chaosium maps, where my college is right where they stuck that little spur of land that made Kingsport. They just kind of stuck like a little horn of land out into the water.
Yeah.
But in reality, that's where my college sits. So it's kind of fun to be.
Or maybe Kingsport is the reality and your college
Yeah,
is the
who can say?
delusion.
Who can say? Who can say what's real?
Yes, well, when the fog rolls in, I put my full daydream cap on, and yeah, it's a good time.
Listen,
And
at the
this
end
was
of
a
the
good
day,
time.
at the end of the day, the Gavigans, etc., or that they all think we're pretty much insignificant or most bothersome. And McSweeney knows they're just useless. They have nothing to offer him at this point.
Right. And
Nothing to offer him. Okay, dead end, cross that off, and really has not a second thought. And the thing that keeps on flabbergasting him is so many people seem to have, even though he doesn't know who the hell this fellow Morgan is. If he mentions him, it's like, okay, let me just drop the name. People seem to be completely oblivious. Well, who's that? And
Yeah.
It's that
That's
sort of but it's that sort of thing uh, of like
Kaiser Soze.
well no I mean it was kind of like having this like 500-pound gorilla right next to you and about the gorilla and you're like what gorilla or just I mean just not being aware of the I'm trying to think of the right analogy but
Well,
the
that's real power. Like that's the puppet master in our midst, like if you can be that anonymous and yet pulling the strings and all of that, that's pretty powerful. You have to be that powerful to be unseen, either willfully or otherwise.
especially when you look like an absolute freak. So the
Yeah,
point
when
of
you've
being
got
completely anonymous when like you couldn't walk down the street and not instantly attract attention.
yeah, well, yeah, and he's got that little entourage with him. Yeah, he's got all the weird people with him. But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the Gavigans, I'm getting an image, or Smalls is getting an image of perhaps, this is just a theory, the Gavigans, maybe maybe he meddle, I'm thinking somebody incredibly moneyed, perhaps incredibly bored, has free time on his hands, gets a hold of these books like, oh, I think I'll take up occultism as something to do with my life because I have no earthly want or need. So why not, right? Why not be a moneyed occult dabbler? And then he
That sounds like a
gets
lot of people in Hollywood. Oh, go
sure,
on.
sure, yeah, right. Like, nothing better to do. Has every other thing in the world is at his feet. So decides to mess with or get into this stuff, and then of course meets real power, meets or something that its own frame of reference cares nothing for any of it's like it's like here I go again with my movie analogies, but I think of like in the Watchmen when Dr. Manhattan is talking to Ozymandias and Ozymandias is threatening Dr. Manhattan, and Dr. Manhattan's like, you may be the world's smartest man, but I'm as threatened by you as I would be the world's smartest termite. So it's almost like he he did the old sin of like, do not call up that which you cannot put down. It's almost like I think he may have, a bored wealthy guy gets into trouble and sets all these dominoes tipping over.
Damn it, Smalls, you're looking at the wrong board, wealthy guy.
What board?
Albert's not the one. I'm telling you, where the hell's his older brother?
Well,
Albert's too much of a chump. Albert didn't do this. Albert's the freaking little brother that doesn't have the freaking guts to do that kind of stuff. That's following his older brother's footsteps. Where the hell's Eddie?
Right, maybe Eddie is the bored occultist, and like
So
Albert
where
just
is he?
came.
I don't think he's dead, Al.
I don't know, but he doesn't seem to want to. I mean, but poor Albert. Maybe Albert's came to call him to supper one night and saw something he shouldn't. Got grabbed by the as so often happens when people have misadventures or ill-advised adventures. It's other people that get hurt.
Yeah, Albert. Listen. Albert's the one that your little brother gets caught all the time. You get out, you do the thing. Your little brother's there.
Yeah,
Albert's just a little brother that got caught.
All right. Well, okay.
I'm telling you.
I don't know but the older brother, we don't know if he's of a laudable character. We don't know if he cares that his little brother. I mean, we don't know. This guy could be off having his own adventures and adventures in weirdness and kind of he could be like, thanks so much for finding me and helping me and helping my family, or he could be like, I don't care what happens to them. I've ascended to Thetan level 72 or whatever. Who knows? Like he could just be like, I don't care what happens to those ants. And then there's Morgan kicking around. There's Dr. Call. We know that Dr. Call got collared, right? From way back. We know he's connected. Did something happen to him? Did I miss a beat?
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, all right.
He got
Never
ripped
mind.
apart. He got ripped apart.
Oh, was he one of the ones that got? Okay, all right. Sorry,
Yep,
I got
dead.
My gray matter. I don't know.
How can we really put a not think that Morgan might have been involved with these guys from the beginning, or does he just show up from no place? I don't buy
Well,
that, Smalls. I don't
yeah,
buy that at
maybe.
all.
Well, he could be something he's not. Like he could be setting. He could be. He's saying he's some sort of crime lord, but he's walking around with this freak show entourage. I mean, he's very strange. He could be anything. He
Or
could be,
anybody.
or anybody. Like he could just. It's sort of like, oh, I'll set myself up to be a gangster because it's convenient. Or, but he could be some secret master of God knows what. You know, he could be one of these Silver Twilight secret chiefs or whatever. We don't know because there was that other guy that got away back when the Silver Twilight got raided. There was was it somebody got away. Dr. Call got picked up, and there was somebody else. The cabbie, if the cabbie was telling the truth, he said there was another fellow that took off.
Yes.
I can't remember. Carl
Stanford.
Stanford.
Yeah.
So it, could be the boss Morgan or is Carl Stanford. I don't know. Could be the same dude. Could be rivals. Could be co-conspirators.
I
Could
think I
be
still got that crumpled up picture from somewhere from the estate. Yeah, just a
yeah.
picture. Do I recognize
So
anybody? Anybody look
so
like they got tattoos on their faces? Who the hell knows?
so we know
But I'm telling
Morgan.
you,
Yeah. Well, Morgan took off with our book, right? He's got our book, right? Have I got that right?
it's
Or did I
not
goof?
your book, Smalls. But yeah, yes. The book
Yes, he does.
disappeared. The book
Our poor
disappeared.
book.
It's not your.
I'm sure
It's
it's
not your book. I
all
understand
right.
you're mad
Well,
about your friend.
he's got
Your
that
friend is
book.
missing.
He's got
Yeah.
that book. So we gotta we gotta find those books, whether or not it helps the Gavigan estate or not. That seems to be our map, our roadmap, our sign. Like that's our guiding star is to find the books. So, and maybe
Books are dangerous.
maybe the books are
Maybe.
dangerous. Yeah, and there's dangerous people doing dangerous things, looking for these books, messing with these books.
We just want to know the truth, Smalls. Find the books. What am I this to save the world? Look at us. Look at us. We're not going to exact vengeance or save Smalls or save.
Well,
Maybe. I mean, you might get a couple good hits in. I can't even. I can hit the side of a barn with a gun. What am I going to do?
I'm not looking for saving anything or vengeance or whatever, but we all got a sense of what that thing was in the underground.
No,
And if we
I don't
can
want to talk
keep,
about
well, that's what I'm like. If we can keep get a hold of these books and somehow keep whatever that thing was in its, we don't need to see that walking down Newbury Street with its buddies. So
Maybe we should visit your aunt. Does she have more of that stuff?
What?
Does she have more? Your aunt.
More?
Well, you're getting a little low on the whiskey there, Smalls.
I don't know about that, but my aunt Tilly, she yeah, she's
Oh,
that's the last. That's we don't want to go see Aunt Tilly.
we don't have to ask her for money, Smalls. It's okay.
So before Terrence MacSweeney incriminates himself by seeking out a illegal substance,
Yeah, or
although
wooing a
still
wooing a
medicinally
dowdy aunt.
prescribed.
Right? Yeah, sweet talking my dowdy aunt out of her
Or medicinal alcohol.
Yeah, right.
Gentlemen, thanks for joining me this evening. This was an unusual session.
It was.
It may have some repercussions later on.
You think?
Mhm.
You think? God.
We continue to pull on the webs of the spider's web, and who knows what other parts of the web we're lighting up as we sort of tug and thrash in our little corner of all of this.
We're Smalls. We're grabbing like several webs at once, shaking them. I'm here, right here. That's what we're doing, Smalls.
Well,
okay. On that cheerful note,
yeah.
take care.
All right, everybody. Be well.
Thanks.
Bye.